Tonight, you sleep under heavy blankets. You have heating. You have walls to keep out the cold. But go back 100,000 years. No houses existed, no blankets existed, no heaters existed. There was only the freezing dark. In this brutal world, a newborn human was the weakest creature alive. A tiny body, completely defenseless against the plunging temperatures. And yet, without modern tools, they did not freeze. How did they survive the night? When the sun vanished, the world changed. The sky did not just turn black, it turned lethal. A biting wind swept through the ancient forests. It stripped the warmth from the earth. The temperature dropped, relentless and cruel. They feared the wolves, yes. They feared the unseen shadows. But the predators were not the true enemy. The real killer was the cold. It crept through the trees. It crawled over the stones. It pierced the thickest animal skins. A tribe gathered deep inside a dark cave. They huddled tightly together. Bone pressed against bone. Skin pressed against skin. In the center, a small fire burned. It was their only shield against the freezing night. They watched the flames. They fed the dying embers. They prayed the light would hold. But the fire was weak. The darkness was massive. The freezing wind pushed deeper into the cave, stealing the last breath of heat from the heavy stones. The cold did not rest, it did not negotiate. The tribe shivered in the freezing dark. A grown man could fight the frost. A mother could pull the heavy furs tighter. But look closer at the very edge of the dying light. Look down at the ground. There, resting quietly on the brutal frozen earth, lay a tiny newborn child. Soft naked skin fully exposed to the biting air. A fragile little chest rising and falling. The infant faced the crushing weight of the absolute freezing winter night alone in the endless black abyss. A grown man feels the cold. His muscles violently contract, he shakes, he shivers. This is not fear. This is biology fighting back. Shivering creates rapid kinetic energy. It generates precious internal heat. The adult body is a desperate machine trying to save itself. But look at the newborn. Watch the tiny chest breathing in the freezing cave. A newborn baby does not shake. A tiny newborn baby cannot shiver. Their muscles are too weak. When the deadly cold surrounds them, their bodies remain entirely still. They possess absolutely no physical way to warm their own blood. A grown man can shiver to survive. A tired mother can shiver to survive. A newborn cannot. To the freezing winter wind, the infant is entirely defenseless. Without the natural ability to shiver, the core temperature should immediately plummet. The tiny heart should slow and stop. By every logical rule of nature, the baby should simply freeze to death on the cold dirt. If they cannot shiver, they should die. That is biology. But biology did not abandon the human race. Because nature did not leave the child unarmed. There was a secret. A deep silent magic hidden perfectly beneath that fragile skin. Nature did not leave the infant unprotected in the freezing dark. Beneath the soft skin of the neck, running quietly down the tiny spine, lay a miracle of human evolution. To us it is biology. To them it was magic. We call it brown adipose tissue, brown fat. But it is not just fat, it is a biological furnace. It is a living, breathing fire built directly into the infant. White fat simply stores energy. White fat waits, but brown fat is entirely different. Brown fat acts. It does not need the muscles to move. It does not need the tiny body to shiver. When the brutal cold touches the skin, this hidden furnace automatically ignites. It wakes up in the darkest hours of the night. It begins to burn. It burns calories with violent efficiency. It operates like a silent reactor hidden inside the flesh. As the ice crawls into the cave, the reactor fiercely generates heat, but it does not keep this warmth to itself. The brown fat surrounds the most crucial pathways of the body. It wraps around the blood vessels in the neck. It hugs the spine. As the tiny heart beats, it pumps cold blood through these pathways. The brown fat catches that blood. It heats it. It warms the vital fluid and sends it rushing back into the chest. Warm blood flows to the brain. Warm blood flows to the tiny heart. Warm blood flows to the lungs. The internal fire spreads through the veins, fighting back the freezing air. The child lies completely still on the cold dirt, but inside a massive battle is being won. The baby survives the brutal winter because nature built a permanent hidden fire directly inside their fragile flesh. A fire that never needs a single tiny spark. The ancient tribe knew nothing of this biology. They did not see brown fat. They did not know about cells. They did not understand internal reactors. So what did they see? They saw the freezing dark. They saw the quiet infant. They saw that a child without food quickly turned cold. And slowly they understood a deeper rule of the forest. Every fire needs fuel. If the flames in the cave needed dry wood to burn, the invisible fire inside the child needed something else. They saw hungry babies freeze. They saw fed babies radiate heat. They watched closely. They connected the pattern. To keep the infant warm, a mother could not simply hold it. She had to feed it constantly, deep into the bitter winter night. The brown fat was the furnace, but the heavy milk was the fuel. When the freezing wind howled outside, the mother woke in the absolute dark. She nursed the newborn. She poured heavy calories directly into the tiny body. The tribe protected the mother. The mother fueled the child. The internal reactor burned that heavy fuel to generate life-saving heat. They did not need a textbook. The dark cave was the classroom. This was no longer just raw biology. This was human connection. It was the dawn of society, a shared instinct to survive. Together. Tonight you will sleep under heavy blankets. You will feel the comfort of modern heating. You will rest inside safe, warm walls. But as you close your eyes, remember the freezing dark. Remember the ancient caves. Remember the silent, invisible fire that burned inside the fragile skin of your ancestors. Without that hidden furnace, the cold would have won. Without that ancient understanding of fuel and flame, the human story would have ended in the ice. You are not just sitting here by pure accident. You are the direct result of 100,000 brutal winters. You are the living proof of a biological miracle that simply refused to surrender to the dark. Every single breath you take today was bought by their silent struggle. Your blood is warm today because their invisible fire never went out. Tonight, when you pull the blankets close, remember them. We are still burning.